So I'm going to continue with my recording of chapter 1. Let me go back to sharing my screen. So now a few things before I get into the slides here. The first thing is I hope all of you have reviewed your syllabus carefully by now. So the best way to get in touch with me is private message on Canvas. If not, you can send me an email to my Foothill email address, which is Gopal, Gopal, my first name, Shubha, which is spelled Subha at foothill.edu. If you have any questions on the lessons, please post all your questions in discussion so other students can benefit from there as well. And then other thing I wanted to remind students is about my office hours. So if you've seen my syllabus, my office hours will be Monday, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And also on Tuesdays, 5 to 6 p.m. So it's a good way to come into Canvas. I can talk to you through video conferencing because we have a conference tool on Canvas. And then, you can, whatever questions you may have, you can talk to me and get it cleared right away. So I recommend students make use of the office hours. And then I also hope you read the syllabus where all the assignments and tests are listed. So chapter 1, there's just going to be that one assignment for the chapter. But beginning chapter 2, there'll be 2 assignments. One is you go through all the transactions in the textbook, the do part. So you will create those transactions in your version of QuickBooks, and then you will export the reports to Excel, and then combine all the Excel spreadsheets into one Excel file and then send it to me. And then the second assignment, I'll have a computer exam. It's not technically an exam because it's not timed or anything. I'll give you a set of data based on what you have done before. And you do the same thing. You'll use the test drive company to enter the data and the transactions. Again, print the reports and then submit on Canvas. So once we get into chapter 2 and you see the homework for yourself, I think you'll understand better. So I'm not going to get into too many details on that. So now what we will do is we will explore, we will get into QuickBooks and explore the test drive company. So I'm going to log in here into QuickBooks. So this is the test drive company. This is the one where you would enter qbo.intuit.com /test drive redirect /test drive. And then you'll go through the security verification every time. So first, what we'll do is we'll examine these 4 icons here. So this one, this plus sign, stands for create. So you click on that and you can, sorry, I'm going to click on that again. So you can create invoices, you can create checks, you can create bills. I think I toggled to the wrong icon. Let me go back there. So click on plus, and so you can also do you can also create purchase orders. So see how they are grouped. They're grouped by source documents, which relate to the customers, which relate to vendors, employees, and others. So I've also done screenshots in the modules to explain a few things. So you can also look on that. whenever you have questions. Again, I just want to tell you that the book might be a little bit different from what you see on the screen. This is because QuickBooks is constantly making updates. So wherever you have a confusion or whenever you have a confusion, make sure you refer the modules as well. Then the magnifying glass here is search. So here you can search for any transactions. You can put in an invoice number 1137 and then we'll see if anything comes up. There was no item found. I think the book uses 1136. Again, nothing. So anyway, so you can put in your invoice numbers, you can put in check numbers, and you can try to find the source documents from here. And also note that the most recent transactions will always be shown below the search icon. And then this icon is the gear icon is an important one because it shows you the settings of the company. So this is kind of helps you customize QuickBooks, I would say, these settings here. So if you look at it here, accountant settings, let's see if it pulls up. Okay. So now here you see the company name, and then you also see what industry the company belongs to. And this is the place where you put in the company's website, phone number, and if you go below, the address, etc. And then the gear icon also gives you lists. You can print your list from here. What this means is this is all lists, which would be customer list, vendor list, products and services. So all those will be here. And then it also provides you with the tools to import data into the software, which is very important, and also to export data. So these two functions are going to be very important. So this icon is also, like, you can say it's a shortcut. If you want to quickly see your list, instead of going into sales and customers, you can just pull it up from here. And then you will use this a lot for import and export of data, and perhaps for reconciling too. So now, and then this one, as easy as it is, it's to help for any help that you need. Here, you can actually check out some of the Intuit videos that they have for QuickBooks. Those are really good. I would recommend you can do that here on the help function. So now let me move on. From here, I'm gonna go to this left navigation bar. So in this bar, this bar is gonna be different from what you see on your textbook, because at the point of writing, again, this was grouped a little differently, and now it is grouped a little differently. So what happens is, first let's look at the sales item here. So the sales, if you click on it, you can see all your sales, and this bar which shows up here is very useful. So this one actually shows you what is the unbilled activity, what is not being billed to customers yet, what is overdue, and which invoices have not been paid. So I use this a lot. You get a quick snapshot of who hasn't paid and what is overdue. And then if I look into invoices, again, it shows me the overdue invoices, and it also shows me the invoices which have not been deposited. So again, very useful information. And here you can create new invoices, And you can also receive payments against invoices. So this is, very useful function. And if you click on this icon here, you can, view the invoice, you can send reminders, you can do a bunch of actions here. This is, very useful for sending reminders to customers. And also, if you want to, print something, I always use this action button here. And then next, if you get into customers. So under customers, now you will see the list of all your customers. And then again, you'll see the overdue invoices and what is open. And you can also receive payments from here. So this is again very useful. Then I go into products and services. So this actually tells you what the company sells. So if you look here, it's interesting. So you see design. So they sell design. This is a landscaping company. So they do, designing of landscape, and you can see it's a service item. And then you can go here and you can run a report to see, how much will actually, if you run a report from here, so you can see how many design products the company has sold and who they've sold it to. So this is very useful if you're trying to find out sales by product. I always use this for that reason. And then let me go back into products and services. And then if you go below that, you can see the company sells fountains, they sell lighting, then, they also sell rocks installing, which is a service item. So it gives you a good idea of whatever the company sells. And if you come here, if you look at the sprinkler heads and sprinkler pipes, these are not inventory items, but these are inventory items. I'm sorry, these are not service items. And it also shows you the quantity on hand for these two items. Then let me get into expenses. So under expenses, you will see a bunch of expenses that you have made more recently. So you can see the bills, you can see the checks, so you can see what the category of expenses from here. And then when you go into vendors, again, this bar is very useful. It tells me, the bills that are overdue that I need to pay right away, and what is open and what is being paid more recently. And then I will click on workers here. This one shows me the list of employees and contractors. Now, here is where you will turn on payroll. And to turn on payroll, what you do is to click on this Get Started button. So once you click that, you will see So once you click on your Get Started button, you'll actually turn on payroll. And then once you turn on payroll under taxes, you'll see both sales taxes and payroll taxes. I don't want to get too much into this because we will be doing a detailed chapter on payroll later. But you can click here, click on Get Started, and see what happens. And then once we finish this, and then what you do is to go into reports. So here you see that the reports are categorized by business overview, which means all those reports which are for a company as a whole, the balance sheet, the P&L, the cash flows. And then they're categorized by receivables and sales. So receivables will have all your customer balance summary, AR summary, and then the sales, of course, you'll have sales by customer, sales by product services. The inventory reports are also included here. And you will also have, transaction lists. And then you'll get into payables. Again, this is your AP aging, and then you'll have a vendor balance summary. Those are the two most often used reports. And then you have reports for expenses and vendors, which will show you purchases by vendor, then the transaction list, and then you can also get expenses by vendor. Those are reports which I use a lot. And then you'll come to the tax reports. So once you turn on payroll, you'll also see the sales tax and the payroll tax reports here. And then you have employee reports, and this is for my accountant is reports which are useful for your CPA. So the payroll reports are here, like I said. You can go through, these are detailed payroll reports, very useful to see, payroll summary by employee as payroll summary for the company, and then it shows you the payroll tax liabilities. So once you're done with reports, then you can go into banking and check out some of the things here. So under banking, when you open this, the banking screen, it shows here as for review. What this means is that this report is showing you all the expenses that have come in, expenses and deposits that have come in from the bank statement, and you need to match the ones that are not matched to your register. So if you look here, see the first 4 items have not been matched, meaning that your register did not have these items. This was only on your bank statement. So in which case you need to add these transactions into your register. And if you look below, you'll see that the system has automatically matched some of the items on the bank statement with what is in your register, and you can go ahead and confirm that. So you will click on match, and so this is very useful when you start reconciling your checking account. And then these are some rules that you can set up for your bank account. So when you see the statement from the bank contains Shell or Chevron, then the account name should be fuel. And then when it contains Starbucks, etc., then you set category to meals and entertainment. And then when it contains AT&T, Sprint, whatever, and then you say, you split the amount in 2 categories. Maybe it's you could call this as telephone expenses, or maybe internet expenses. That's why I think it's split into 2 categories here. So this is very useful because then you don't spend a bunch of time matching the transactions. Once you've put in more rules here, the transactions are automatically matched, and it's very easy to reconcile after that. So the last one I reserved for accounting, because this is the most useful, the most important one for us as accountants. So here, the chart of accounts are the nuts and bolts of accounting. These are the accounts in your register. So see your chart of accounts. So you'll see all your accounts listed here. And then you can view the register for each account. Close this out. And you can view all the transactions that have gone into that account. So, prepaid expenses, I'll view the register and see what has gone on. Nothing here. So back to chart of accounts. The prepaid expenses have an zero balance. And then if I go into inventory and I view my register, so you can see how the inventory account has decreased, meaning there was a sale, and then increased, which means that the company has purchased inventory. So I always open the account register whenever I have questions about any expenses, any increase or decrease in accounts. So as accountants, that is kind of my first to-go place. And then the accounting also has a reconcile button here. And then this is to do our reconciliations. And then, so for this, you have to get your bank statement and then match your books and then complete the reconciliation. I'm not going to get into too much of this here because in our later chapters, we will be reconciling the bank accounts and you will learn more then. And then my accountant. So my accountant, here is where you enter your CPA's email and invite them. So this way, the CPA is able to log in and work on your books. The CPA can pretty much do many functions, review the transactions, make corrections, delete. So this is where you will do that. And then for our course, in the second chapter, I will have students actually put in my email address and invite me to your trial version so that I can track your progress. And it's also very easy for me because if students are not able to correct their mistakes, I can help them do it. So this is going to be one of the tasks you will do in chapter 2. I just want to follow the book and wait for chapter 2 until we do this. So that is for chapter 1. I would also suggest you go through the modules. And if you have any questions, like I said, lesson questions, best to put it in discussions. Any other questions, you can send me a private message on Canvas or email me. Then the homework for chapter 1 will be all the end of chapter questions that you see at the end of chapter 1. I am also going to include a few more questions other than the end of the chapter questions, which will be under assignments, chapter 1 homework. These are questions based on what you read or what you explored on the QuickBooks program. So you will, what you will do is open an Excel spreadsheet, create different tabs in it. One for the true or false questions, multiple choice, fill in, computer assignments, and the additional questions that I'm going to put in there. And then just key in your answers in each of those tabs. I will make it easy for me to grade it. Save this Excel file as your name _ chapter 1. This is very important. Put in your full name _ chapter 1 because I might end up mixing students' submissions. I have a big class, so I request you to name your file correctly. And then you will upload the Excel file on the Canvas link. So as you know, the due dates are marked. You get 3 days of grace period, but I will dock the grade if it's submitted late. The policies are explained clearly in your syllabus. So again, a recap of homework for chapter 1 will be for you to apply for the free educational version of QuickBooks Online Plus in case you have a digital version or you don't have an access code. And then then go through your textbook, practice the transactions on the test drive company, not transactions, practice looking at the navigation bar and the other icons I showed you on the test drive company. And then number 3 is do all the end of the chapter questions plus the additional questions which I will have on the assignment link in Canvas. Thank you.